Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Mark, I hear we've got some interesting new tech from Telit Cinterion to unpack today.
That's right, Jenny. We're talking about the LE310 and the SL871K2 modules. They've just been announced, and, well, they're designed for some really neat applications.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me the lowdown. What's so special about these modules?
It's all about their size and combined functionality, Jenny. The LE310 is an LTE Cat 1 bis module, and it's asterisk tiny, 15 by 18 millimeters. Then you've got the SL871K2, a GNSS module, even smaller, at just 9.7 by 10.1 millimeters. They are built to work hand in hand, especially for things like asset tracking, telematics, that kind of thing.
Asset tracking? So, like keeping tabs on shipping containers, fleet vehicles, that sort of thing?
Exactly. Or, think about construction equipment, high-value packages, anything that needs to be tracked. But it's more than times where something is. It's also about power usage. These are designed to be super power efficient.
Ah, low power. Meaning longer battery life, I'm guessing?
Spot on. You don't want to constantly change batteries on trackers, right? These modules are designed for long-term use, and the SL871K2, the GNSS module, it's got multi-constellation support.
Multi-constellation? Meaning it can see more than just GPS satellites?
Precisely. It can get signals from GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, Beidou, all the big players. This improves accuracy and reliability, especially in urban canyons. Areas with tall buildings that can block signals.
Okay, that makes sense. So, pinpoint location, even in challenging spots. What about the cellular side of things, the LE310?
That's the LTE Cat 1 bis. It's a good choice for IoT applications that need sufficient bandwidth, but not, like, the blazing speeds of 5G. It strikes a good balance, and it's a single-SKU design.
Single-SKU, meaning one version that works everywhere?
You got it. Global connectivity. No need for different versions for different parts of the world. It really simplifies things for companies that make and ship products globally.
That sounds like a huge advantage. Simplifies logistics, I imagine.
It does. And they're designed to be compatible with other Telit Cinterion modules, including older ones. So upgrading is pretty straightforward if you're already using their tech.
Backward compatibility. Always a good thing. So besides asset tracking, what other uses are we looking at?
Think wearables, healthcare devices, anything that needs location data and needs to send that data reliably. Even things like, eventually, autonomous vehicles, though that's a bit further out.
So not just tracking times things, but also times people. In a way, like with health monitors?
Right. And because they're so small and use so little power, they can be integrated into smaller devices. Think of the possibilities.
But, Mark, what about the privacy implications? I mean, we're talking about tracking things and potentially people. What safeguards are in place?
That's a very important question, Jenny. With all the tracking capabilities, privacy is a huge concern. Telit Cinterion, and any company using these modules, needs to be compliant with data protection regulations, things like GDPR in Europe and CCPA in California. Data security is paramount.
So it's not just about asterisk having times the tech, but also using it responsibly. And what about integrations? You mentioned compatibility with older Telit Cinterion modules, but what about other systems?
That's another valid point. While backward compatibility is great, integrating with systems from different manufacturers, that could be tricky. Adhering to industry standards is key here, to make sure everything plays nicely together.
And let's talk cost. Is this going to be affordable for smaller companies, or is it just for the big players?
That's always a consideration, isn't it? While the single-SKU design helps reduce costs, there are regional variations to comply with regulations in different areas, like EMEA and APAC. That could add some complexity. Ultimately, it'll come down to a cost-benefit analysis for each company.
Right. It will be important for companies to see a return on investment.
I also saw a quote from Marco Argenton, SVP of Product Management at Telit Cinterion, about how market demand is driving this need for compact size, connectivity, and GPS capabilities all in one.
What's the takeaway there? What does it say about where the industry is going?
It means that we're moving towards more integration. Smaller, more power efficient, and more connected devices, all at the same time. These modules are a step in that direction.
So when can we expect to see these modules actually times products?
They're sampling now, with mass production planned for the second half of 2025, and they're already working on getting the necessary certifications for different regions. So, relatively soon.
It sounds like Telit Cinterion is aiming to be at the forefront of the IoT evolution. It's going to be fascinating to see how this technology develops.
I agree completely. These modules are just a glimpse of the future, and I expect many companies will be embracing this kind of technology. Easier tracking, and, hopefully, lower power usage can help make IoT better for the environment.
Speaking of the environmental angle, lower power consumption is a good start, right?
Definitely. It's a step in the right direction. Less energy used, smaller devices mean less material. It all adds up.
Well, Mark, this has been very informative. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure, Jenny. Always happy to talk tech.
That's all for this episode, everyone. We'll be back next week with more tech insights. Join us then.